Hi everyone, and thank you for purchasing the Professional Multi-Year Bookkeeping template. In this video, I will walk you through exactly how to set up and use the template step by step. This template is designed to give you a complete financial system. It helps you stay organized, track your income and expenses, monitor cash flow, and ensure your records are always aligned with your bank statements through built-in reconciliations. This video is a detailed walkthrough, and I also recommend reviewing the instructions in the Read Me tab, which includes additional guidance. Please note that this YouTube tutorial applies to your purchase, even if the template shown in this demonstration looks slightly different. There are multiple versions of the template, including variations with preset chart of accounts for specific businesses or different color themes. Regardless, the structure and functionality are the same. Before we begin, a quick note on protections. In Excel, this template uses protected cells to prevent formulas from being overwritten. It will not allow you to edit any protected cells. You can unprotect them if needed. Here are the instructions. But I strongly recommend keeping protections on. In Google Sheets, it works a little bit differently, and you will see a warning if you attempt to edit a protected cell. If that happens, simply click Cancel or X. For the purposes of this demonstration, I will be using the Excel version. However, Google Sheets works very similar. With that, let's get started with the Inputs tab. First, you will go ahead and input your company name and your currency. You can go ahead and copy and paste any currency symbol directly into this input cell. Next is your start month and your start year. This is a multi-year system. You can continue to use the same file for many years. This is the first year you begin using the template. The start month is only applicable if your fiscal year differs from your calendar year, so in most cases you can leave this set to January. Next is your name for the profit and loss statement. You can go ahead and select the drop-down menu and select any name that fits your business. And lastly is your helper notes. Here you will see helper notes throughout the workbook. They provide guidance as you work through the template. If you prefer a cleaner version for printing or presentation purposes, you can always hide your helper notes by inputting yes into this cell here. You can turn them back on anytime by clearing the cell. In Google Sheets, you will see a checkbox instead. You will see shortly that the helper notes will appear. Sometimes it can take a few seconds just for all the formulas to activate. Now let's go ahead with the account setup in section 1.2. Here you can input up to 10 accounts. This includes any accounts you want to track cash flow for: bank accounts, credit cards, savings accounts, loans, or even PayPal. You can input your account name alongside your opening balance. For example, if your start date for this template was January 2026, which we have inputted in the section above, then your opening balances should reflect January 1st, 2026. All bank accounts or assets should be entered as positive values, and all credit cards should be negative values. So you'll see here I have a little bit of a mix-up, so I will go ahead and input $10,000 for my savings account, and minus $500 or negative $500 for my credit card. Next is your chart of account setup. Section 1.3 and section 1.4. You will input your information here to set up your chart of accounts. This is one of the most powerful features of the template, and it works very similar to a professional accounting software. In section 1.3, you can define your main categories. You have up to 15 income categories and 15 expense categories. In section 1.4 are your subcategories. You can define your subcategories with up to a total of 75 each. Your main categories should remain high level and broad, whereas your subcategories provide the detail and roll up into the main categories. Each main category must have at least one subcategory assigned. So let's go ahead and walk through an example. In section 1.3, you'll see here we've already inputted product sales. So I will go ahead and input service income as my second income category. Now if I go down to section 1.4 and I go ahead and select the drop-down menu, you will see both have populated here. I will go ahead and click product sales. You'll see a warning has appeared. This warning is prompting me to enter a subcategory. If I don't, the dashboards will not work accurately. So I will go ahead and input product D sales. All four of these subcategories will automatically roll up into this main category. You'll also note that that error has disappeared once I inputted the subcategory. I will demonstrate this roll-up feature shortly in the dashboards and profit and loss statement. Some important rules. If you don't need subcategories, you can repeat the category name. So for example, if I choose service income, but I don't have any subcategories for service income, I can just repeat the name here, and that warning will disappear. Category and subcategory names should not change once transactions are entered. There is an error check in the transaction log to help with any accidental changes, which I will also demonstrate shortly. You can add new subcategories and categories at any time, even after starting the transaction log. And lastly, subcategory names should be unique. If I had inputted product C sales here, you'll see both of those cells get highlighted, which indicates that you do not have unique names. So always make sure that you have unique names for the dashboards to work accurately. And that's it. You can go ahead and repeat the same steps for your expense categories. In this example, I have professional fees as my main category and accounting and legal fees as my subcategories. Let's go ahead into the chart of accounts. This is automatically generated from your Inputs tab. As you update categories and subcategories, they will appear here and remain organized. Use this as a clean reference for your structure. As indicated in the helper note in the top left section, there are no inputs in this tab. You'll see product D sales is populated as well as service income that we just inputted in the Inputs tab. Next, let's go ahead and move into the budget section. Here you can enter your monthly net income target for up to 10 years. Enter net income targets as positive numbers and losses as negative numbers. This is optional but recommended if you want to track performance against your goals. All inputs are shown in white. You do not need to populate future years until they become relevant. So in this example, my starting year is 2026. So I have gone ahead and inputted $5,000 as my monthly net income target for all months in 2026. They don't have to be the same. You can input any numbers that meet your budgeting needs. I have not yet populated 2027 onwards, but I will do that when I'm entering the fiscal year. So when I finish 2026 and I'm entering into 2027, I can go ahead and set my 2027 budget here. And that's it for the setup. So now let's move on to the transaction log. As I have indicated before, this has an all-in-one transaction log. All of your transaction logs are inputted into this one tab. You'll see that I've already inputted an expense transaction, but I will go through a few examples in this demonstration to show all the different transaction types. Here there are 3 fields that are mandatory. One is date, transaction type, and amount. To the far right, which I will show you, is your smart prompt and your error check. This will guide you based on the transaction type which cells you need to populate. So let's go through a few examples. I'm going to go ahead and input a date. Now say I input an invalid date. You'll see that this warning will appear. You must always ensure that you have a valid date inputted. So I inputted January 1st, 2026, and I will select an income transaction. In this example, I will go ahead and input $5,000 as my income amount, and I will input 5% sales tax. This is optional. If you do not have sales tax and you don't charge sales tax, you do not need to input anything. You'll see both of these cells are grayed out and they are automatically calculated, so you don't need to make any changes here. Next is your description, which is optional, but for your own record keeping purposes. So I will go ahead and say product D sales. You'll see that my smart prompt has automatically appeared. This indicates to me that I must select a to account and a category and subcategory. So let's go ahead into column J where the to account is, and I can go ahead and select checkings account. This is the account that I am depositing my income into. Next, it tells me I need to populate the category, which I can do as product sales, and subcategory, and put in product D sales. You'll see here before I actually click onto this subcategory, you'll see this error at the very top. And that's your summary. It will summarize all of your errors before you can proceed onto your dashboards. So you must always ensure that they are cleared. So this indicates to me that I have one category issue. Once I select product D sales, you'll see that error has disappeared. Say, for example, I accidentally inputted into from account instead of a to account, you'll see that error won't disappear until I make the correct revisions. And again, you'll see this is now disappeared. And that's how you go ahead and input your income transactions, and it works the same for your expense transactions. Now let's walk through a few different examples. I will go ahead and input January 1st, and if I click the transaction type category, you'll see that there are 7 total categories. We've already done income, and I already had expense already populated. These two will go into your profit and loss statements. Next, you have owner's contributions, owner's withdrawals, other deposits, and other withdrawals. These are cash deposits and withdrawals and do not affect your profit and loss statements. And lastly, you have transfer, and this is transfers between different accounts. So let's go ahead and talk about one of the cash transactions. I will go ahead and input owner's withdrawal, and I will put $2,500. All your inputs must always be in positive values. There's no sales tax for an owner's withdrawal, and I will go ahead and input an optional description. You'll see that my smart prompt is telling me I must only select a from account. I will go ahead and select the drop-down menu, and I will go and click checkings account. This indicates to me that I have withdrew $2,500 from my checkings account for an owner's transaction. And again, you'll see that smart prompt has disappeared, which indicates that my transaction is complete. Now let's go through one last example. I will click a transfer. I want to apply $1,000 and pay off my credit card. So you'll see here for a transfer, you must select both a from account and to account. To account, I will go ahead and select credit card, and from account, I will select checkings account. And my amount, I will put $1,000. This tells me that I have paid off my credit card using my checkings account for $1,000. And you'll see that error check has disappeared. These are the main different types of transactions. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me to go in further detail, or go ahead back into the README tab, which outlines all of the different transaction types in detail. Once you complete your transactions for the month, you can go ahead and move to your profit and loss statement, dashboards, and account reconciliation tabs to review your results. And make sure to ensure that this error check summary is cleared before proceeding. So let's go ahead into our profit and loss statement. The profit and loss is presented by main category level. So you'll see the 15 income categories and 15 expense categories populate here once you have the inputs tab complete. I will go ahead and input the year that I want to review. So here I will input 2026, which is the transactions that we have inputted. We had inputted a total of $5,000 for product sales, and if you remember, there was already $1,000 for the expense transaction type in the transaction log. Both of these values have populated here, and towards the bottom you will see the recalculation of your net income or loss. You'll also note that the owner's withdrawal and the transfer that we populated in the transaction log did not populate here, since it does not affect your profit and loss statement. If you recall, we had never inputted a main category or a subcategory for those two transaction types, since they are simply cash transactions. This view is great for presentation or printing purposes to get a clear picture of your profit and loss for the entire year. Let's move on to the monthly dashboard. This allows you to select any specific month and year and compare to the prior year respective month. So I will go ahead and select January, and again input 2026. Same with the profit and loss, you will see $5,000 populate here for income and $1,000 populated here for expense. Since this is the first month, you'll see that the prior year comparison is not applicable. Now let's go ahead and actually move to a fully populated template so you can see how this template works in action. In this example, 2025 is fully populated, so I will go ahead and select January 2025 instead. You'll see that the dashboard has automatically updated. At the top, you have your key metrics, your income, total expenses, and net income. In this example, I selected January 2025, and my comparison is actually comparing to January 2024. Right in the center is your nice visual for your net profit margin for the month. In this case, it was 50.69%, and the graph will show the same. If you go a little bit further below are your visual charts. To the right is your net income tracker. This aligns with the budget that you had set in your setup process. So in this case, it is comparing to the budget that I have reflected for 2025. To the left is a visual showing your income and expense and comparing it to the prior year. And in the middle are your charts showing your 15 categories for income and 15 categories for expenses. Now, if you scroll down below, you have two charts showing your income and expense allocation. This shows your top 5 income categories and top 5 expense categories. And in the middle of these two charts is your trailing 15-month summary. Based on the selected month, it automatically shows the revenue and expenses and net income for the previous 15-month period. We had selected January 2025, so this goes all the way back to November 2023. This makes it very easy to identify trends over time, and as you input all of the years into this template, it makes this feature very useful. At the bottom is your subcategory details from largest to smallest. So let's just talk about this. Here you will see product sales. You'll see product C sales, product A sales, and wholesale sales. If I take the sum of these three numbers, it's $48,965. And if I actually scroll up to the top, you'll see that the product sales at the main category level agree. So really, this is your high-level category information, and at the bottom is your subcategory details. They will always match, but this shows you all of your 75 subcategories. Now, let's move on to the annual dashboard. The annual dashboard works very similar to the monthly dashboard, so I won't go through it in detail. However, for this example, I will input 2025. And you'll see it is fully populated to show all the data by month for both 2025 and the prior year 2024. The only difference in this tab is the monthly summary chart right here. Everything else, the rest of the visuals and the charts below, are the same as the monthly dashboard, but for your annual totals. Now let's go ahead into our 5-year dashboard. Even though this template supports many years of data, this view focuses on a rolling 5-year window. You can go ahead and enter the most recent year you want to analyze, in this case 2025, and the dashboard automatically pulls the prior 4 years. Since I entered 2025, it automatically went all the way back to 2021. At the top, you see key metrics which show your total 5-year metrics. In the middle, you have your total 15 category level information for all 5 years. Then you have a few charts down below which show your top 5 income allocation and top 5 expense allocation. Here you have your aggregate income and expense allocation chart. And lastly, you have your best year for total revenue and your best year for your net income over the 5-year period. So this tells us 2025 we had the best year for revenues and the best years for net income. Now let's go ahead to the transaction history tab. This allows you to drill into transactions by category, similar to a professional accounting system. Income categories on the left and expense categories on the right. I can go ahead and select my drop-down menu, and you'll see all up to 15 main income categories will populate here. It will pull all transactions from inception to date since you started using the template. So I will click product sales. If I only click the category, you will see all product sales will populate here. You'll see all of the subcategory details that roll up into product sales. And if I look at the dates, you'll see 2026. And if I keep scrolling, you'll see older years down below. Now, if I want to drill specifically into a subcategory, you'll see my subcategories will populate here. And say I just want to see product A sales. You'll see it is refreshed and only product A sales have now populated. This works very similar to a professional accounting system and how a general ledger works, and this is great to review all of your history inception to date. Your expense works very similarly to the right. Now let's move on to the account reconciliation feature, and to do so I'm going to toggle back to the demo that we were working on earlier with the $5,000 income transaction and $1,000 expense transaction. Account reconciliation feature. This template includes a built-in reconciliation process that mirrors a real accounting system. Instead of relying on month-end dates, account reconciliation is based on your actual bank or credit card statement end dates. This ensures your records match up exactly to your statements. Every transaction in the transaction log included a from or a to account, which we previously saw. Once entered, all transactions automatically flow into this tab along with your opening balances from the Inputs tab. At the end of each month, simply enter your statement end dates and statement balance for each account. Even if your statement is mid-month, this template will automatically pull all transactions within that exact period. So let's go through an example. Say I finished all of my January transactions and now I want to reconcile my January statements. I will go ahead and select January, and since we went back to the demo, we're going to be talking about 2026. Once I input that here, I'm going to scroll to the right. And here is where I can enter all of my statement dates. So first, let's try to reconcile the checkings account. Say my checkings account for January end date is January 25th, 2026. I just deleted that. That was something that was carried forward from my previous demo. So my statement end date is January 25th, 2026. My statement start date would be December 26th, 2025. These dates should match exactly to your checkings account bank statement. And now say my statement balance for this account is $9,795. This is the exact amount. If I go into my bank account, this is the amount as of January 25th, 2026. You'll see I scroll back to the left and all that information is populated here. My period has automatically populated, my opening balance, my income transaction, and you'll note here the $5,000 includes sales tax, so that amount has populated as $5,250. My expense did not have sales tax, so the $1,000 is populated here. And you'll see that all of the account activity has populated here. So I had a $1,000 credit card transfer. However, I don't see my owner's withdrawal. So I'm just going to go back into my transaction log. And here we go. I accidentally had clicked here credit card instead of checkings account. So I'm going to actually fix that and go back into my account reconciliation. And you'll see that there's an unreconciled difference of $2,500 now. And that $2,500 is populated here. So I'm going to go back into my checkings account statement and make sure that this is correct. And I realized that I inputted the incorrect amount and it actually does agree. So I'm going to go ahead and put $7,295, which is the exact amount from my bank statement. And you'll see because the amount agrees to the dollar, this will show automatically as reconciled. Now you can input as many different statements for the month as long as it's in the Inputs tab. So I'll go ahead and select Savings Account, and my savings account end date is January 20th, 2026, and my beginning date is December 21st, 2025. You'll see here to the left, all that information is automatically populating. If I look at my savings statement that I generated from my bank, the ending balance was $10,000. And again, you'll see this as reconciled. Now the last feature here I want to talk about is the tolerable range. Here is your tolerable range. You can define this to be whatever value you want. If you don't want to investigate certain differences, you can set that threshold. So for example, I've inputted $100 here. If I go ahead and change this statement balance to $7,350, you'll see that my checking account still shows reconciled, and that's because it's within the $100 tolerable range. However, if I was to change this to $7,500, you'll see this shows as unreconciled and the value of $205, and that's because it exceeds my $100 tolerable range. So let me go ahead and revert this back to $7,295, and it's reconciled, and this indicates to me that my January month has been reconciled. When I populate my February transactions, I can then go ahead and input February here and reconcile my next month when it comes available. Now let's just scroll to the bottom. Here is another view that you can look at, which is your current balance by account, which updates in real time based on your transaction log. These reflect balances as of today. On the left, you have two visual charts which show your inflows and outflows and your account balances as of today. Now let's go ahead and move to the Account Custom tab. Here you can input custom date ranges to view any transactions for whatever period. So let's look at our checkings account, and we will input the exact same period that we did in the Account Reconciliation tab. And here we go. You'll see all of the same transactions have populated here, and the ending balance is $7,295, which agrees to my Account Reconciliation tab as well. In this view, there is no need to enter a statement end date or select a month from a drop-down menu. This one just is flexible, and you can input any dates you like and review any period that you would like to take a look at. The rest of the tab, including the bottom, which is the current view, is the exact same as the Account Reconciliation tab. So which tab works best for you? And that depends on your preference. You can use the Account Reconciliation tab if you want a more formal reconciliation process, or you can use the Custom Account tab if you prefer flexibility and don't want that formal reconciliation to verify your statements. Whichever option you use, you can always hide the other tab to keep your workflow clean and focused. Or you can use both tabs, the Account Reconciliation tab for your formal reconciliation process and the Accounts Custom tab to understand transactions for various different periods. Now let's go ahead and move into our last tab, which is our sales tax reporting. This tab is optional and only applies if you collect or pay sales tax. If you do not use sales tax, you can always hide this tab. Based on whatever rates you've entered in the transaction log, this template will automatically summarize the tax collected on your income transactions, tax paid on your expense transactions, and your net tax position. This is helpful when you're preparing your sales tax filings on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. So I will go ahead and input 2026 here. You'll see my income transaction of $5,000 is populated, and since I had sales tax, that sales tax amount has populated here. You'll also see the $1,000 for expenses populated, but since I did not claim any sales tax, this amount is zero. Towards the bottom will be my annual totals, and to the right are your monthly totals. And that concludes the walkthrough for the professional multi-year bookkeeping template. This template is detailed but straightforward once you set it up, and it provides a complete view of your financial performance and cash flow for multiple years. If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in customization, you can always send me a message and we can discuss your need. Thanks again for your purchase, and I hope this template helped you gain clarity and confidence in your finances.